Hello and welcome to a new video on IGCSE Mathematics. In this video, we shall be discussing rational expressions. We shall begin with multiplying rational expressions. Simplify P over 2Q times 4PQ over T. So you should know that similar to what we do when we're multiplying regular fractions, numerical fractions, we can cancel out anything that is common between top and bottom. So for example, Q and Q can be cancelled out. 2 and 4 as well. 2 becomes 1 and 4 becomes 2. And then you are left with P times 2 times P in the numerator. And just 1 times T in the denominator. So this is 2P squared over T as a final answer. Now we have another expression. Of course, here we will have to factorize first. So you should have watched the video on trinomial factorization before attempting to watch this video. We have two numbers here. We multiply them by each other. So A times B equals 2, and A minus B equals this number, which is -1. So the two numbers are going to be 1 and 2, 1 times 2 and 1 minus 2. So this can be 2x plus 1 and 2x minus 2. And then, so basically, this is plus 1 and this is minus 2. And we write 2x on the first term of each bracket because it has to do with this expression here. We just ignore the power and we just write the 2 and the x. Now we simplify. So 2 and 2 cancel out. You get 1 and 1. So this becomes finally 2x plus 1 times x minus 1. Now this is divided by this expression here. This can also be factorized with a common factor. So you can take x out and you'd be left with 2x plus 1. So you have x times 2x plus 1. Having factored things out, you can now cross the same bracket. You can cancel the same bracket together, and you can write the final answer as x minus 1 over x. However, it is more professional that when you cancel out brackets like this, you have to write x is not equal to the value that makes the bracket equal to 0. So 2x plus 1 equals 0. Take the 1 to the other side, becomes 2x equals -1. Divide by 2, so x equals -half. This value would make this expression equal to 0, and it cannot be 0, so you have to write x is not equal to -half. Regardless of whether the marking scheme grades this or not, this is the professional way of answering. However, this is the final expression of the answer. So here, they did not really require us to write x is not equal to -half, but x minus 1 over x is the correct final answer. Again, here we have to first factorize up and down, if possible. So for the numerator here, we will take out xy as a common factor, and we are left with x squared plus 2y squared. And in the denominator, we have x squared, y squared. You cannot really factorize that. So now x and x squared cancel out, and you have just x here. And similarly, y and y squared will cancel out, and you will get y here. So now we have x squared plus 2y squared over xy as a final answer. And this is correct as a final answer here. Again, we have to factorize up and down. So let's take out 7n as a common factor here. We would be left with 6p minus 1 divided by, for the denominator, you will have to group. So these two together, you can take out 2t. You would have 6p minus 1. And for these two, again, you would take 3m and you would be left with 6p minus 1. This is factoring by grouping. There is a video on that as well, so you should have watched that before watching this video. So we take out 6p minus 1 as a common factor. We are left with 2t plus 3m times 6p minus 1. So we write that down. We have 2t plus 3m and 6p minus 1. Now we can cancel these out. I'm not going to write the condition where p is not equal to so-and-so because they don't require it. But in some systems and in some schools, they do require that. So you should know to write that down. So 7n over 2t plus 3m is the final answer here. And this is the correct final answer. For this problem here, again, this is a difference of two squares. So this will just be x plus 4, x minus 4. And then for the denominator, if we want to factorize here, we want a times b equals 4, a minus b equals -3. So this is 1 minus 4, obviously. So x plus 1, x minus 4 is the correct factorization here. And we would cancel these out together. So we would be left with x plus 4 over x plus 1. This would be the final answer. Next, we move on to adding rational expressions. Write a single fraction in its simplest form. Write as a single fraction, I mean, in its simplest form. So to add fractions, you have to have a common denominator. So the idea here is to multiply this side by x minus 5, but you have to do it up and down. And to multiply this side by x plus 3. And again, you have to do that up and down, so that in the denominator, we now have these two expressions and these two expressions, which are exactly the same. So this can be written as a common denominator here, x plus 3 times x minus 5. And in the numerator, we now have 2x times x minus 5 plus x plus 3 times x plus 3. Of course, you would have to simplify. So 2x times x minus 5, this gives us 2x squared minus 10x. And then plus x times x is x power 2, x times 3 is 3x, 3 times x is 3x again, and 3 times 3 is 9. Now we can collect the like terms and further simplify. So for the like terms, we choose the terms that have the same power of x. We have 2x squared plus x squared, so this is 3x squared. And then we have 3x plus 3x, this is 6x, minus 10x, this would be -4x, so we have minus 4x here. And finally, we have plus 9. And this is divided by x plus 3 and x minus 5. And this will be okay as a final answer. Right, as a single fraction in its simplest form, 1 over x plus 2 minus 2 over 3x minus 1. So again, here we multiply by 3x minus 1. Here we multiply by x plus 2. We have to copy in the numerator as well. So we have 3x minus 1 here and x plus 2 here. So our equation becomes 1 times 3x minus 1 minus 2 times x plus 2 over, and the common denominator here is x plus 2 times 3x minus 1. And then we simplify. So this becomes 3x minus 1 minus 2x minus 4. And this will equal x minus 5 over x plus 2 times 3x minus 1. And this is the correct answer here. Again, the idea here is to have x plus 1 here and to have 2 here, and then copy in the numerator. So you get these expressions. And then we have x times x plus 1 minus, and then you multiply 2 times 2x plus 4. So this, I just put this here. 2 times 2x is 4x, and 2 times 4 is 8. However, you have a minus sign here, so maybe just put brackets like this and write these down. So we have 4x plus 8, and just put a bracket because you're still going to need to distribute the negative over the bracket. And then the denominator is 2 times x plus 1. This is equal to x squared plus x minus 4x minus 8 divided by 2 times x plus 1. So x squared minus 3x minus 8 over 2 times x plus 1 is the final answer. And this is the correct answer here. One more time, we have x plus 1 here, and we have x here, so that they're common. And we have x plus 1 copied in the numerator, and we have x copied in the numerator as well. So we have 1 times x plus 1 minus 1 times x over x times x plus 1. We now expand and simplify. So this becomes x plus 1 minus x. And if we cancel these out, we're just left with 1 over x times x plus 1. This is the final answer here. Same idea, we multiply here by x plus 2, multiply here by 3. We copy this in the numerator. So the denominator now has 3 times x plus 2. In the numerator, we have x plus 2 times x minus 5 plus 18. 6 times 3 is 18. Now we expand. So if we expand the two brackets, we get x times x, which is x power 2, minus 5x plus 2x minus 10. So x squared, and then minus 5 plus 2 gives us minus 3x. And then minus 10 plus 18 gives us plus 8, divided by 3 times x plus 2. And this is also the correct final answer here. So for this case, we need to multiply here by y, and we need to multiply here by x, and then we imitate in the numerator. So our common denominator will be just xy, and in the numerator we have y times x plus 1 minus x times y minus 1. There's a negative sign here, so we multiply these two together, and then multiply by the bracket. Now we expand, so this is xy, this is plus y, minus xy, plus x. And then we can cancel out xy minus xy, so we have y plus x over xy as a final answer. And this is correct as well. Okay, so here we have x plus x over 2. This kind of looks weird because the first one is not a fraction, but we can turn it into a fraction by writing it as over 1. So here we need to multiply by 2. Of course, here we need to multiply by 1, but that doesn't really mean anything. We can just ignore it, because when you multiply by 1, nothing happens. Here you have to imitate in the numerator, so you have 2 as well. So the common denominator here is 2, and in the numerator we have 2x plus x. So the answer is 3x over 2. For the second one, we will also write over 1. Here we will need to multiply by x up and down. Again, here we multiply by 1, but this is insignificant. So we get x times x, which is x squared, and then plus 2 all over x. This would be our final answer. So 3x over 2 is correct, and x squared plus 2 over x is correct as well. Here we're going to multiply the left-hand side by x plus 1 up and down. And on the right-hand side, we will multiply by x plus 2, again, up and down. So the denominator is x plus 2 times x plus 1. In the numerator, we have 2x plus 3 times x plus 1 minus x times x plus 2. We start to expand, so we get 2x power 2 plus 2x plus 3x plus 3 minus x power 2 minus 2x. And we start collecting the like terms. So here we have 2x power 2 minus x power 2. And this gives us x power 2. Then we have 2x plus 3x, which is 5x, minus 2x. So this is plus 3x. And finally, we have plus 3. So x squared plus 3x plus 3 over x plus 2 times x plus 1. This is the correct final answer here. Now we have three fractions added together, so you must have a common denominator in all of the three. So for the first one, it needs an x plus 7, and it needs 2 as well. We have to imitate that on top, so x plus 7 and 2 as well. For the second one, it already has x plus 7, so it's missing x minus 3 and 2, which we also have to imitate in the numerator. So we have x minus 3 and 2 as well. For the third one, it's missing x plus 7 and x minus 3 in the numerator as well. Now we expand and simplify. So the denominator is going to have the three terms, 2 and x plus 7 and x minus 3. In the numerator, for the first term, we have 5 times x plus 7 times 2 plus 3 times 2 times x minus 3 plus 1 times x plus 7 times x minus 3. We now need to expand and simplify. So we start with the numbers. So 5 times 2, that's 10. So we can just cancel out the 2 and the 5, and we can write 10 instead of the 5. Now we need to distribute the 10 over the bracket. So we get 10x plus 70. These are the same as 6. So 6 times x, you get plus 6x, and 6 times negative 3, you get minus 18. And then here we just have 1, which is insignificant, so we multiply the brackets. So x times x gives us x power 2. X times negative 3 is negative 3x, plus 7x minus 21. Now we collect the like terms. So for the x power 2, there is only one term here, so we just write it down. For the x's, we have 10x plus 6x, so that's 16x, minus 3x, so 13x, plus 7x, so 20x. So we have 20x here. And then we have 70 minus 18, which is 52. 52 minus 21 gives us 31, so plus 31 over 2 times x plus 7 times x minus 3. And this is the correct answer as well. Same idea here. We have p and t. We can do over 1 here. So this needs to multiply by p and by t, up and down. So we have p and t here. For the p, it needs 1, which is insignificant, and it needs t, so we just multiply by t. And for the third one, we have to multiply by p, up and down. So this becomes pt minus 2t minus 3p over p times t. 1 times p times t, or just p times t. And this would be the correct answer here as well. Next, we move on to rational equations. Solve this equation and show all your work. So what we need to do here is first combine it into a single fraction, or the easier way when you're solving an equation is to just multiply everything by each denominator. So for example, if we have x, let's just multiply everything here by x, all the terms. And then we have x plus 1, so let's go ahead and just multiply everything again by x plus 1. If we do that, we will see that the denominators are immediately just cancelled out. So for example, for the first term, you have x, so they remove each other. For the second term, x plus 1 cancels x plus 1. Now we don't have any denominators, and we can just write it as a single equation. So if we have 5 times x plus 1 minus 8 times x equals 1 times x plus 1. We can just expand. We have 5x plus 5 minus 8x equals, and then you distribute, so you get x power 2 plus x. And then you just solve it as a quadratic equation. So you take everything to the right-hand side. So we get x squared plus x minus 5x minus 5 plus 8x. We have to change the sign of each one of these. And all of this is equal to 0. Now we simplify again. So we have x squared, and then we have x minus 5x is negative 4x plus 8x, so positive 4x minus 5 equals to 0. We now need to factorize. So we have two brackets. We have x and x. We want two numbers that multiply to give 5, and their difference is 4. So this is obviously just 5 and 1. 5 minus 1 equals 4, and 5 times 1 equals 5. So we have plus 5, and we have minus 1 equal to 0. Now we have two brackets that are equal to 0. We have to solve each bracket on its own. So we have either x plus 5 equals to 0, or x minus 1 equals to 0. You can take the 1 to the other side. So x equals 1. Same thing with the 5. So x equals negative 5. So therefore, our final answers are negative 5 and positive 1. And these are the correct answers here as well. Here we have an equation, and we want to convert it into the equation that they gave us in I. So let's just apply the same technique that we did before. Let's multiply up and down by, not up and down, let's multiply each term by the first denominator, which is m plus 4. Here we're just multiplying up, not up and down. So each term is multiplied by m plus 4, and then each term is multiplied again by m. So how does this help? This helps by canceling out the first denominator with m plus 4 and the second denominator with m. So now we don't have any denominators. You can just start to write down the equation. So this is 3m minus 4 times m plus 4 equals 6m times m plus 4. We can start expanding. So we have 3m minus 4m minus 16 equals 6m squared plus 24m. And then we can take everything to the right-hand side, or you can just simplify first. So 3m minus 4m, this is just minus m. This is easier. And then you can take this to the other side and this as well. So it becomes 6m squared plus 24m plus m plus 16 equals to 0. And we combine these terms. So 6m squared plus 25m plus 16 equals 0 as well. Now we want to solve and give our answers correct to 2 decimal places. So 2 decimal places suggests that we will not we will not have numerical final answers. Our final answers will not be numbers. So therefore, we're going to have to use something called the quadratic formula that you may or may not have yet studied, but it is part of your curriculum and you are going to get introduced to it soon. So let's just give a brief introduction to it here. The idea is that we just assume that the number next to x squared or m squared is a, the number next to m is b, and the third number is c. And then we just apply a certain formula that says x equals negative b positive negative root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And now we just plug in the numbers that we said we have. So b is 25, so negative 25 plus minus root of b squared will be 25 squared minus 4 times 6 times 16. And all of this is over 2 times a, which is 6. So we simplify. Now we have negative 25. Of course, this requires no simplification. We'll just write it down. Plus minus root of. So we have 25 squared. You can either use your calculator or do it mentally or do it by hand. Either way, you're going to get 625 minus 4 times 6 times 16. So 4 times 6 is 24. And 24 times 16 is 384. So we will just write down 384 here. And all of this is over 12. So first we evaluate the root. So we have a square root of 625 minus 384. This is equal to 15.52417. But we don't have to write all of these, but we can just write like 15.5242 maybe. And then we have negative 25 plus minus 15.5242 divided by 12. We have two possibilities here. So either x is equal to negative 25 plus 15.5242 over 12, or negative 25 minus 15.5242 over 12. In each case, we have to just evaluate it. You can use your calculator for that. So negative 25 plus 15.5242 and then divided by 12. This gives us negative 0.7897. For the second one, we have negative 25 minus 15.5242 divided by 12. And this is negative 3.377. So we approximate our final answers to two decimal places. So the first one is negative 0.79, and the second one is negative 3.38. And these are the final answers. These are the correct final answers here. So here we just need to show that the first expression simplifies to the second expression. Let's just write that down. So we have x, and we have x plus 1. We have x here as well, and we have x plus 1 here as well. So excuse me, this is the way to combine into a single fraction. This will work, but I would like us to just solve using the same technique in all the problems. So we said that when we have a rational equation, we don't do up and down. So I'm just not going to do that. Let me start over. Let's multiply each term by the first denominator. So let's multiply x plus 1, x plus 1, x plus 1. And then multiply each term by the second denominator. So x, x, x. And we will write the equation down. So we have, first we cancel out the common things. So these are common, they get canceled out. And for the second one, these are common as well. So we are left with x times x plus 2 plus 3 times x plus 1 equals 3 times x first and then x plus 1. So this is 3x, and then we can start expanding. So x times x is x power 2, x times 2 is 2x. This is 3x, and this is 3. And all of this is equal to 3x times x, which is 3x power 2, and then 3x times 1, which is 3x. And we take everything to the other side. First, we can simplify these two terms. They give us 5x. And then we move everything to the right-hand side. So we have 3x squared plus 3x minus x squared minus 5x minus 3. All of this is equal to 0. And then 3x squared minus x squared is 2x squared. And then plus 3x minus 5x is minus 2x. And then we have minus 3 equals to 0. And we have reached the expression or the equation that they wanted us to reach from the beginning. So this tells us that we have worked it out correctly. And this is of course correct because we already know what the final answer should look like. For the final question in this video, again, we want to solve. So let's begin by multiplying everything here by x. And then everything again by x plus 1. And then we cancel out the common things. So x cancels x. X plus 1 cancels x plus 1. We are left with 1 times x plus 1 minus 2 times x equals 3 times x plus 1. Now we start expanding. So we have x plus 1 minus 2x equals, and then this is 3x. So 3x times x is 3x power 2, and 3x times 1 is 3x. And we take everything to the right-hand side. But first we can cancel the like terms here. So x minus 2x, this is just negative x. We take it to the right-hand side, so it becomes positive x. So 3x squared plus x plus x. And then this one goes to the other side, so it becomes minus 1. Now we've taken everything to the same side, so we equate to 0. So we have 3x squared plus 4x minus 1 equals 0. And we want to solve, again, this is to 2 decimal places, so this is out of context of this video a little bit, but this needs the quadratic formula again, which is minus b plus minus root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So here, this is the a. You might want to skip this part if you have not yet studied the quadratic formula, but if you know it, then you can just try it out as well. So we have a and b and c, and we just plug them into the formula. So we get x equals minus 4 plus minus root b squared, which is 4 squared, minus 4ac. A is 3 and c is negative 1. And all of this is over 2 times a, which is 2 times 3. So 4 squared is 16. Minus 4 times 3 would be negative 12, times negative 1 would be positive 12, so plus 12. So we have negative 4 plus minus root of 28 over 6. So either x is equal to negative 4 plus, you need to figure out root of 28, of course. This is 5.2915. Use as many decimals as possible so that your final answer is definitely accurate. So 5.2915 over 6, or x is negative 4 minus 5.2915 over 6. Negative 4 plus 5.2915 divided by 6 0.21525. We don't care about the rest. We're going to approximate to 2 decimals anyway. So negative 4 minus 5.2915 divided by 6 is negative 1.5486. Now we take the final answers to 2 decimal places. So this will be 0.22 and this will be negative 1.55. So the final answer is 0.22 negative 1.55. And this is the correct final answer as well. And this brings us to the end of our video. I hope this has been beneficial. Thank you for watching.